Hello and welcome back to the Let's Talk About Comics podcast. This is the second episode. My name is Peyton.
I am Spencer.
And on this show, we talk about all sorts of things, video games, comics, movies, books, TV shows, Dead Sea Scrolls.
Yeah, all of the above, man. Today, we're going to be covering Hulk. A few different things. We're covering 2003's Hulk, directed by Ang Lee, and The Incredible Hulk, 2008, directed by someone I can't remember.
Louis Leterrier.
Yeah. The only other thing I saw on his IMDb page was Transporter. That was the only other thing I knew.
Is that a,
It's Jason Statham.
Yeah, Jason Statham.
Yeah.
There's several of those movies, I'm pretty sure now.
I'm not sure. I don't keep up.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure, I don't know if Jason Statham is still with them, but, I'm pretty sure they made a few of them. We're also going to be covering The Incredible Hulk from 1962, the very first appearance of Hulk.
Yep, he debuted 1962 in his own comic series. It gets really confusing because after a while, they stopped that, moved Hulk stories to Amazing Adventures, and then picked back up in the mainline Hulk title with the same number following Amazing Adventures. So when you're reading early Hulk, the order is extremely confusing.
So it would go 14, stop for 20 years, go to Amazing Adventures, and then come back at 15?
Basically.
Huh.
Well, alright. No, it would come back at when you look at Hulk, it's... Let me pull it up, actually. Yeah.
Oh, so it goes issue 6 and then issue 102.
Yep.
Huh.
Well. Because there was a 5-year span where they just moved his story.
Well, I know that Avengers was a catch-all in terms of popularity and, them not making enough money on certain characters. But we'll get into that, more a little bit later.
In the comic talk.
Yeah, in the comic talk. So we're going to go ahead and start with movie talk. We're going to be talking about Hulk 2003 first. Once again, this was directed by Ang Lee. Written by James Schamus. Fun little fact here. Executive producer was Kevin Feige.
Yeah.
He actually got his start on X-Men.
Yeah.
Bruce Banner was played by Eric Bana. Betty Ross was Jennifer Connelly. And Thunderbolt Ross was Sam Elliott. The Silver Fox himself.
Sam Elliott's goated. You can't even lie. Sam Elliott's great. Okay, so the movie starts off it seems as every early 2000s Marvel film does, with a ridiculously long intro with just some on-screen text, a little bit of visuals, and some Danny Elfman music. Danny Elfman did do the score for this. He also did the score for the original Spider-Man, the Raimi movie, and he also did the soundtrack for Tim Burton's Batman.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just a long intro with all the, basically credits. And the font sucks. It's not Comic Sans, but it's close enough.
Yeah, it's really, really bad.
It's rough.
It's, ultimately, I think the whole film kind of feels like a student film at times.
I honestly think this movie's biggest issue was the editing.
Really?
In general, because it reminded me the only other movie I've seen edited like a complete train wreck the way this movie is would be 2016 Suicide Squad, because they decided to pass that around to multiple editors, including a trailer company.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, so it's just the whole movie has these Windows Movie Maker looking transitions. Literally.
Hold on.
I feel
I gotta count this here. I gotta count because I commented on it on my notes here. Every single time I felt that it was excessive.
Are you serious?
Just about.
Oh my gosh.
Every time that it got to me, at least.
I stopped keeping track.
1, 2, fucking shit. It was just really fucking bad. There were so many, so frequently. 4 times.
Four separate occasions. You were just overwhelmed by the ass cheek transitions, dude.
It was like Star Wars kind of has tasteful transitions,
Right,
like tasteful wipes.
Yeah, when they use the wipes and the goofy stuff, it's cute. It's charming.
And it's sparingly.
Yeah. And it's because, back in the 70s, that was common. That's how it started. So even when the later movies do it, it's just keeping it consistent.
Yeah.
But in 2003, imagine if 2002 Spider-Man was edited this way. Do you think we would remember it as fondly?
I don't think we would have even had to worry about Spider-Man 3.
It would, dude. Yeah, but I think apart from the god-awful editing, I think it's not a terrible movie at its core. There is just a lot of glaring issues throughout.
So, you say this.
I do.
I
am low-key a Hulk 2003 defender, but not too much, because there are parts of this movie that, no matter how much you spin it, it's shit.
Yeah? Yeah. Because I have several notes about, actual technique here. So, okay, I'll give it its perks here. Do you want good first, or do you want bad first?
Go good first, because I know there's less of that.
Okay, so...
Coming from
Damn you. So, I'm trying to remember which one's which, because you gotta remember here, this shit blends together when it gets to be 3 a.m.
We did watch this movie we did turn this on at midnight.
We needed to get it consumed, because we are consumers.
Absolutely.
Absolute consumers. So from what I remember in this movie, Eric Bana did play a decent Bruce. I liked him. I liked him as Bruce.
I'm surprised, because I didn't think you would. I actually really like his Bruce.
Yeah, me too. I really liked him.
For reasons I'll get into later. But
I liked Sam Elliott's Ross. I also really liked. Hold on. Let me go through my notes here.
I was gonna say he's got to dig through
I'm
his
really
notes
reaching
to find
here.
any compliments.
I'm reaching. Hey, give me a second.
Would you like to just go through the movie from the beginning, or I can go through my general notes and you can just kind of shit on the movie as we go?
Yeah.
All right. So it starts off with a flashback of Bruce as a kid. His mom's cool at the start, but they did not hold back on his childhood trauma. Holy shit. That was a rough intro,
dude,
for a superhero movie.
Shit was Attack on Titan.
I'm still not 100% sure even what fully happened, because there's a moment later in the movie where they kind of try to go more in detail, and it ends up making even less sense, because later in the movie there's this part where it flashes back again and it makes it seem like the parents were having an argument about Bruce, but in the opening scene all you hear is screaming from Bruce's mom. So I don't know if that's just a continuity error or something I missed.
I think it's just later on in the sequence.
Yeah, it might have been just afterwards.
Just a different occasion.
Yeah. But either way, did not hold back too much. And I think, Bana plays a decent Banner, as we said.
Bana plays a good Banner.
Banner. But going along with the, childhood trauma, I think he kind of embodies that well. There's a lot of parts in this movie where they show that, still affecting his adult life more so than I think any other Hulk interpretation has, which is something I give this movie mad props for, the way it handles his mental health.
Mad props to Kate McKinnon for getting her debut role as, Bruce's foster mom.
Jesus.
I don't know the actress's actual name, but...
she did kind of look like Kate McKinnon.
She looked like she was straight from SNL.
My next note says R.I.P. Froggy, because Bruce's dad blows up a fucking frog in the first 10 minutes. He's testing out his gamma rays, and what it ends up doing is like creating this ulcer or like cyst on the frog that just grows and reproduces, and then boom, frog's dead.
Bye, Froggy.
Bye, froggy. Uh,
Dude, sound guy went on fucking vacation.
yeah. There's a couple points in the movie where it literally just goes silent.
I mean, like,
And not like for dramatic.
Yeah.
I'm mainly talking about the sand dunes part. where
where, in theory, based off the context of other things, there should be sound.
Yeah, because like you hear him rolling down the sand dunes for a while and like running, you hear his footsteps, and then it just kind of stops. And there's no sound for like 45 seconds, and then all of a sudden you hear this loud ass music start up and the helicopter guns start. I'm like, come on, man. I think Sam Elliott does great as Thunderbolt Ross, definitely one of the highlights. I think pretty much all the cast was good for the most part. Jennifer Connelly kills it as Betty, personally, I think. I said the movie's very artsy and stylized, but doesn't always work. I think there are parts where it does. Definitely not all the time. God, no, not all the time. Sometimes it actually works against the movie, where I'm like, if they had just used a regular transition, that would have been so cool.
Yeah, I mean, like, I kind of wonder, and this may be something I do when I have a bit more free time. I wonder if I can recut this movie and save it. Like, do you think that's possible? Do you think that somebody could, in theory, save it with
Better editing.
with what there?
Possibly.
Because I'm not gonna lie, I think that if you leaned a little bit more into the like having multiple things on screen kind of transition instead of like all the weird wipes and shit, maybe you could save it as like it being more of an artsy stylized comic book movie.
Right. That's what I would, and I think that's what they were going for in a lot of places, and there's a couple times I think it worked. But other times it's like we don't need to see I get annoyed when, you know, a movie will show the same scene from like 3 different angles, you know, like the same shot just back to back, like when something explodes. Like, we don't need 3 different angles of the explosion. We know the shit blew up, dude. And they managed to do that while cramming all 3 on the screen at the same time, so it's even more insufferable.
It does like the soap opera, like multiple angle of the same thing, replaying the same event over and over and over.
It's so extra for no reason.
I don't know. I didn't like it overall, but I'm not gonna say that I didn't have fun watching it.
That's fair.
And I think that ultimately is what a movie should do. It should be fun.
Yes.
It should be fun.
Enjoyable.
And what's not fun, however,
is the first act being drawn out.
Well, yeah, not only that, but I'm trying to think who does it to them. I think it's multiple fucking people throughout the entirety of the fucking film. But they all yell at Bruce, like, why don't you know this thing? What is this thing? Why don't you know it? Why don't you know it? Why don't you remember it? He was 4. That's why. He wasn't even conscious. He wasn't sentient.
He was just there.
He probably woke up around 6. Like, that style of writing, it just doesn't make sense to me, because it's like, I know it's stupid, and I know people are stupid, but there's no way that would be even realistic, and it's too goofy to be grounded.
Because, I mean, it shows that he remembers shit from his childhood, like the traumatic events, but it's always, you know, vague and blurry and just glimpses, you know? So to expect him to remember specific details from that time, that's a lot to ask of a person, you know?
Yeah.
And trying to kill him when he can't, or, you know, chasing him down thinking that he should be able to.
Yeah.
Is kind of dumb. Dumb.
Well, and then not only that, but Bruce just constantly gets the short end of the stick. Because I want to talk about Talbot next. just going in here to have Talbot just Will Smith Bruce.
Oh,
He assaults him multiple times,
yeah.
just straight up
And
assault.
people just let him.
Yeah,
There's the one time where he literally just kind of breaks into Bruce's house, beats the hell out of
Yeah.
him, and then it shows him leaving the home, and there are cops outside.
yeah. He just walked right in.
He just walked past the cops, beat Bruce's ass, left, zero consequences.
And then the government gives Banner to Talbot,
Yeah,
beats the shit out of him again.
I think him being in this movie was pretty much entirely unnecessary.
Yeah,
I feel like if you took out almost every scene he's in, with the exception of the stuff between him and Betty.
personally, I think that he could have just been replaced with Freddie Prinze Jr. playing Freddie Prinze Jr.
That's any role in any movie.
Hulk
you,
want
baby.
Freddie Prinze Jr.
Hulk.
Hulk want Freddie Prinze Jr. Ultimate Hulk is not great.
Is that what that's from? Ultimate
Yep.
Hulk?
That's from the Ultimates, like specifically that run.
Okay.
I want to talk about those dogs.
Hold on one second. I think the first act is kind of just drawn out. I think I even looked at you at one point and said, why is nothing happening?
It was really boring.
Like 20 minutes of just stuff that mostly doesn't matter or that you could have covered in a third of the
flashback,
time.
Yeah.
And I don't know why they used Harper in place of Rick Jones.
What was it?
If you noticed that, Rick Jones wasn't in the movie.
Oh yeah, yeah. Was that?
It was some dude named Harper.
Oh fuck yeah.
And
I mean, not gonna lie, I kind of thought that.
It's the same situation though.
Yeah.
So like literally just the name change, unless there's something there I'm missing. But
I mean, I don't even know if they were planning on doing a wider universe at the time, but in the Avenger, like in the comics, Rick Jones is actually crazy important.
yeah, that's true.
So my question is, do you think we're ever gonna see a Rick Jones in the MCU?
I don't think so. I don't
It's
even know
probably
if they're
way
allowed.
too late.
I mean, yeah.
Well, I mean, what was She-Hulk? Was the rights completely different on She-Hulk?
I think so.
Okay. I mean, that would make sense.
But Betty stole every scene she was in.
Hmm.
I said that pretty early in the movie. But I do think she does a good job.
I think she
throughout.
suffers from girlfriend syndrome.
Absolutely.
I hate when they do that shit.
But
Like, I mean, they did that to fucking Lois Lane in a lot of the Snyderverse shit.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, in most shit. Like, characters are allowed to be separate and full characters.
Right.
Because just when they have girlfriend syndrome, that means that, oh, well, the studio or the writers may decide to fridge them.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it doesn't work. It never works.
After that, David Banner's batshit crazy.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
It gets to a point where when you write a villain, they always talk about villain motivations, making that clear. Sometimes even making it relatable. So we can understand what the fuck was David Banner on? What was he thinking through any of this? What was his goal? I don't remember. I couldn't tell what we were watching, frankly. I knew he hated his kid.
No. So he actually
and he wanted to like harness the power of the Hulk.
He did kind of hate his kid. But
he 100% hated his kid.
He hated his kid after he discovered he was a bitch. But no, so the main motivation for him was, and I don't even know if they established it as being like a kind of racist thing, but I kind of feel like it was. Because he was very like, I'm trying to build the master race, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And that, I guess, in his eyes, is a giant
green monster.
Green man. Or just big shit and make it big.
Yeah, just make it big and bulky.
Make it big and strong. So he kind of pumped himself full of shit to like improve himself.
Yeah.
And then he ended up getting his wife pregnant, and
that passed down to Bruce.
Yeah, it passed down to Bruce a little bit. And even then, he still continued injections on himself and on Bruce.
Yeah.
Very Attack on Titan.
It's rough stuff.
Have you ever seen the abridged?
No.
There's like one episode. It's really really fucking funny. It got canceled immediately because good old cease and desist. But there's a moment where there's like the flashbacks of his dad injecting him,
Yeah.
and he's like, "Come here, you little shit."
That's pretty much what it was. And then afterwards, that shows that he was like predisposed to it or whatever.
Yeah.
And then later on, when he goes into the same field as his dad, which Thunderbolt Ross sees as a big red flag, because Ross knew David Banner and knew that he was up to some fucking not okay shit.
He was up to some pretty wacky shit.
Yeah, little goofy stuff, little quirky.
Quirky? He was
Quirkiness?
A bit of a quirked up white boy. He was goated with the
he
sauce.
Was absolutely not goated with the sauce.
He kept trying to goat others with the sauce.
He did. And so when Bruce was exposed to the like gamma bomb later in his career,
the sauce.
When he was exposed
to the sauce.
When he got lost in the sauce.
I don't know. I like exposed to the sauce. That makes it sound like an accident. It was.
It was, yeah. But after that exposure, he became the Hulk.
Who is goated with the sauce.
Who is absolutely goated with the sauce. Anyway, I thought the Hulk reveal was actually cool. I'm not gonna lie. The CGI is kind of dog shit.
$0 budget.
Yeah. And $5 Party City gift card and a dream. But
they had 6 unpaid interns and a dream.
Yes, sir.
It was cool though. They didn't spend shit.
Like, I mean, it was filmed cool. Arguably, I feel like if the CGI was better and the editing in this entire movie wasn't atrocious, I feel like it could probably be better than the 2008 movies Hulk reveal.
Bruce didn't have so much emotional damage.
He does have a lot of emotional
damage.
Shut the fuck up.
Emotional damage.
Bro is not okay.
I did like the Austin Powers sets that they had.
Like
the fun in-person sets. I mean, I will say they had the Austin Powers Bond base syndrome, where they had the lines going everywhere.
Yeah.
It was underground.
Oh, yeah.
So fucking stupid. I loved it.
This movie is entirely cliche. For the most part. But it's great. He do be jumping. I love it. We don't get enough Hulk jumping in media. And I'm saying it right now. Hulk needs to fucking jump. He needs to jump more.
You think he's gonna join like the fucking Olympic basketball team
or
some shit?
He might. He just be jumping. And I think we need to see more of it.
We Durant, fucking Yao Ming, fucking Hulk.
Everybody loves seeing Superman fly through the sky and Spider-Man swing through the city. Okay, I want to see Hulk leap around through fucking mountains. Is that too much to ask for? The MCU has given us like 5 scenes of that. Okay?
Who owns Hulk? Not the MCU.
Well, I know. But they don't even be doing that in the cartoons. Or nothing.
Well, that's because animation is expensive. Have you ever seen Space Ghost Coast to
That
Coast?
is...
Every time I move my arm, it costs Cartoon Network $48.
Love that.
I will say, Daddy's doing drugs.
Hella drugs.
Like, he,
David Banner's an absolute crackhead in this movie.
Absolute.
I mean, like, in the comics,
drugs.
He's also a crackhead, but, like, not to that extent that I've noticed. I think Sam Elliott is one of the biggest highlights of this movie is General Ross. Ross is a dick, as always. It's kind of just his character. Because if there's ever... Right. If there's ever, a Hulk story where at some point you don't say to yourself, God, he's a dick, then it's probably not a good Hulk story. Because even when you understand where he's coming from, you're still a little bit pissed off at him. Because you know that, like, Betty and Hulk are trying their best. And we get that Ross is trying to protect people and whatever. But, like, come on, man.
I
His
really,
helicopters got fucked up. Hulk has a problem with helicopters. First of all, I noticed that
they're like
happens.
giant flying metal things coming right at him.
I
He's
mean, yeah,
not exactly the sharpest knife in the crown box.
exactly.
I will say, I really hope that as far as like being cold and calculative and stuff like that, I really hope that kind of shows through for Nick Fury in Secret Invasion.
That would
Because when I think of that, when I think of Ross, he's a not as bad version of Nick Fury, considering he doesn't have as much power. Because if Ross had as much power as him, he would probably be worse.
Way worse.
But because Nick Fury has the power that he has and, makes the decision that he does, there are more lives lost.
Right.
At least in the comics.
That's
especially
fair.
in the Ultimate Universe.
That's fair.
I mean, it does show through that he's a good person in that universe, but still.
I mean, yeah, he's a good dude at heart, which is why he's a compelling character. But on the surface, he is a just a dickhead.
Absolute dickhead.
I said, oh yeah, I put, what the fuck is up with Glenn? The army just watched him assault Bruce. Once again, that scene, no sense. Hate that shit. Hulk is big as hell in this movie. His proportions are a little bit weird and inconsistent at times. Because there's a couple shots where dude looks like a Hulk kaiju, like Godzilla level shit. And then all of a sudden he's picking somebody up and their hand is as big as like his pinky.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, what?
It doesn't make much sense. And
it seemed like he got bigger the angrier he got.
Yeah, which is something that does happen.
Yeah, and which was a cool little touch, but
it was inconsistent.
I was going to say, when it's that inconsistent, it kind of loses the flavor.
Yeah. So I did want to say, I wanted to talk real quick. Talbot dies in a shitty graphic. I really like that.
I don't remember that.
So he explodes, and it was just.
Oh my god! Yes, frame. And it does like the outline.
Yeah.
If that, I need to find a clip of that because that is fucking
we'll
priceless.
Yeah,
that is
we'll
priceless.
include that in the YouTube edit.
But after my next note of that is about the dogs. You would like, because I know you had something to say about the dogs.
The dogs were barking. So Hulk punched one of the dogs in the dick. Just gonna go ahead and start with that.
In the balls.
In the balls. He punched that dog in the balls.
Like, not punched directly.
And then, honestly, the dogs looked better than Hulk.
I can't argue with that.
I really think the dogs looked better than Hulk.
Yeah, I think the dogs were weird. I mean, like, cool gimmick, gave him big stuff to fight, which I enjoyed. It's because I'm not gonna lie, I'm a simple man. I like seeing Hulk destroy shit. So even if the CGI looks dumb or the Hulk dogs explode into green goo, I'm here for it because I like seeing shit get smashed up.
Yeah, but, I mean, one of my notes here, Hulk do be smashing though.
Oh yeah, this movie
do be smashing.
That's why one thing I do love about this movie is it really just embraces the character.
Oh yeah,
truly, it just lets him run and jump through landscapes, punch shit, destroy everything, do whatever, get mad. It's dope.
Them treating Hulk like it's a demon, inner demon.
Yeah.
All of that was fucking amazing.
I love how it handles his trauma. Part. I love how it handles the mental state and everything of Hulk.
The ending was like Morbius level bad. I actually enjoyed the ending of Morbius more than this. David trying to absorb Bruce? That's my notes.
Yeah, are you talking about like the final fight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where he like can suck shit up, or he can suck you off.
Well, yeah, because like it made it seem like he could absorb energy and like turn into whatever he touches or whatever. But
was his dad like a character like from the comics, or like did we ever figure that out, or was it like original?
His dad is in the comics. I don't know if he has that power in the Hulk comics I have
Well, I didn't know
read.
if he was like, if they were merging his dad and like another villain.
That I'm not sure. It was just cool seeing him destroy stuff. This Hulk is a badass dude. Him biting that missile.
Yeah.
I'm not. That's peak.
Oh yeah.
The falling from the sky scene went kind of hard.
Trying to remember. It's been like a few days.
Yeah, but there's this part where he's like falling from the sky, and it goes into like Bruce's head in the mirror.
Oh yeah, Hulk breaking mirror. That's what I have here.
Yeah.
That was fucking amazing.
That was
fucking
dope.
amazing.
But yeah, my like last few notes. Seems like it should have ended already because it felt like it should have ended a couple times.
A long fucking time.
What the hell is that giant floating bubble that his dad turned into?
Yeah, I said, what the fuck is this final fight?
What? I don't understand what were they going for? How was that? It was
again,
stupid as hell.
Morbius levels of bad.
Yeah.
Morbius levels of
worse.
Bad. And
I
then,
would say worse.
Yeah, again, I like Morbius better.
Morbius's final fight was better.
Yeah. And that, we can say that comfortably.
I can confidently say Morbius's final fight was better than this final fight.
And then
I said final scene was a nice touch, but I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't remember what I was referring to.
Well, it was him. It was probably him going to South America.
Yes,
and then saving the village.
Yeah,
which it's cool that it ends in South America because that is where Incredible Hulk starts. And then I also have here my immediate reaction to the whole of the movie was, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What did I watch?
That is the only way to think about this movie. All right. Now, we're going to move into the movie talk of Incredible Hulk 2008. You want to go over the cast and crew of that one?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me go ahead and... Yeah, so movie talk for the Incredible Hulk 2008. The director was Louis Leterrier, or Leterrier. Writer was Zach Penn. Bruce Banner was Ed Norton. Betty Ross was Liv Tyler, daughter of Aerosmith singer Steven Tyler. Almost forgot his name for a fucking second.
Is that true?
Yes, actually.
Oh, okay.
She had a sex scene in Armageddon with Ben Affleck to Don't Want to Miss a Thing. It was very uncomfortable. It featured frosted animal crackers. Thunderbolt Ross was played by William Hurt. I'm just gonna keep going. Emil Blonsky was played by Tim Roth, and then Samuel Stern, who I really want to focus on throughout this, was played by Tim Blake Nelson.
My first note says, "Oof, Universal Studios."
Yeah, yeah. So I just really hope that we can get this shit sold back, or like, not even necessarily that, but my whole thing is, how can you as a third-party company, I guess third-party to Disney, look at the success of Marvel and not want to cut a deal?
Right.
Like, Sony is smart enough to do that, but they're also diversified enough because PlayStation. They're diversified enough to not need necessarily to cut a deal, right. But it's just beneficial for both of them to cut a deal. But like, hopefully that is being worked out with She-Hulk coming up and stuff like that. Hopefully that works out just fine.
And there's been a ton of rumors about a potential future Hulk solo project with Mark Ruffalo,
which would be amazing.
He said he would be down for it.
Well, yeah, and it's just mostly up to Universal,
right?
I would say. And this is the only Universal MCU movie.
Yes.
I want to say in that beginning scene that he looked a little gray to me. Or at least he was maybe color graded to look a little bit gray.
Yeah.
Because, funny enough, that's how he looks in the comics.
Right.
Like when he first turns into Hulk for a while.
Yeah, it was originally a coloring issue, but then they actually retconned it to be part of the story about how, like, his form evolves over time and with different levels of radiation or whatever. Starting off, I said I like how we start with the Hulk already existing.
Yeah.
We didn't get the origin story. It showed in the intro, like little clips. We get a couple references to the 80s show with the same exact shots of like the chair going up or whatever. And then like you said, you see the Hulk start to destroy stuff. He looks a little bit gray, and like it's when he's first off the first exposed to it. But I think it's interesting. It's refreshing to start with the Hulk having already existed, because this is a Bruce who is avidly trying to deal with it. He's not.
I wouldn't necessarily say that he's trying to deal with it. He's trying to prevent it.
Yeah.
Which is a whole other thing. And I think
true.
that's one thing I will give credit to Avengers and a lot of the side projects. He is only technically featured as like a side character in main projects.
Yeah.
I think that those establish his dealing with it now.
Yeah.
I mean, Age of Ultron, kind of, with that, him losing himself, that kind of sent him back a little bit.
Right.
But then after Infinity War and, like, into Endgame, that's him
managing it.
Yeah, managing it and finding the peace within himself.
Yeah, because there's actually
himself and Hulk.
There's actually a part in this movie where he, like, specifies, he says, I'm not trying to deal with it, I'm trying to cure it. I'm trying to get rid of it. Because Betty, like, suggests that he try to deal with it and manage it, with his anger and stuff. And he's already trying to do that to a degree, like with the anger management that we see him go through. But at the end of the day, he views it as a disease that he needs to get rid of, because he knows, like, he should have died. Like,
the question I have is, did the trainer know?
I don't think so.
Or do you think he just told him he has like a heart condition or something?
Something like that. I don't think he knew specifically what would happen.
Which, by the way, the trainer is a cameo.
Is it?
Yeah, it's a cameo. It's he is a MMA fighter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know his name, but I know it's a cameo.
I think this is one of Stan Lee's best cameos. I think it's really cute.
I said it. This cameo hits a bit harder now.
It does.
Hits a bit hard.
Yeah, hits close to home. That bloody Mountain Dew is iconic. I don't care what anybody says.
Do you think they can, or do you think they're able to sell that at like Avengers Campus?
That would be so funny.
Yeah. Called a Bloody Mary or just Bloody Bruce.
Bloody Bruce.
That would be fun.
I said Ross is already ruthless, like from the time he steps on screen.
Counts every single one.
Yep.
Every single death.
Or potential death, even.
Yeah. Because, we see that in Civil War, obviously, when he shows off the numbers and talks about it.
Right.
But I forgot that we saw it this early and this hard. Like, he counts every single one.
Yeah,
when he is a cold motherfucker.
Yeah, he just lists it off. He's like, this man is responsible for the deaths of these people, the injuries of these people, the potential deaths of even these people, etc., etc. I said it has a much stronger beginning than the 03 film.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Ross is so much better in this than he is in the 03 film. I like Sam Elliott, but William Hurt was perfect as Ross.
He was great.
It's super unfortunate that he passed away.
Yeah.
He was a great actor. He was a great actor.
I heard, I don't know how true this is, but I did hear that before his passing, they were even throwing around the idea of bringing him in as like Red Hulk, like he is in the comics, which it's...
I don't know how well that would have worked out.
I don't know, but especially with the recast of Bruce. But
yeah.
Either way, it's just, it sucks, but he's wonderful in this film. My next note says, pervy Portuguese guy and his gang suck.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because literally the whole Hulk thing starts because dude is sexually harassing a lady. Bruce says, hey, nah.
Yeah.
Quit.
And then they're like, nah.
And then they go to jump him later, and he, like, threatens them. He's like, you're not gonna like what happens. We get the little cheeky reference, you're not gonna like me when I'm hungry.
Yeah.
In Portuguese, because he's still learning the language, which I like seeing him study the language and stuff, like watching children's programming to learn the words. That, as someone who likes studying language stuff, that was just really cool to see. But they made good cannon fodder because this Hulk reveal was badass.
Not showing Hulk till the end of the fight really, really worked for this one.
Yeah.
I really, really liked it.
Because it made him feel like a threat, like not something to be messed with.
On the flip side of that, how was this not an international incident?
That's a good question.
Like, did Ross just cut a deal with the Brazilian government saying, like, hey, you have a really dangerous terrorist in your country and we'll come in and take him out, extract him for you, no problem? Like,
they don't specify, so I don't know.
I mean, like, I wouldn't surprise me. So, is there a prequel comic for this one?
I don't.
Because I don't know when they started doing that, but I would like to get all of those at some point, and I think maybe sometime in the future we will do an episode maybe on all of the prequel comics. But as we talk about certain films, we will be using those if we have them available to us.
Correct.
And then what else?
I said this Hulk CGI looks great. This is still undoubtedly my favorite Hulk design.
Oh yeah.
Looks, I'm not gonna lie, the only design that we've seen that comes close is his design in Avengers 2012.
I mean, I personally liked the Professor Hulk design. Too, because it looks like what it should be, like what a Professor Hulk should be.
I mean, yeah, but
But I do hope that Hulk either just gets separated, or we get a new Hulk like Amadeus Cho, or just a new rage monster, something, anything. One thing I did want to go ahead and get into with tying into the greater world, greater universe, was Hulk got his powers trying to recreate Captain America.
Yeah.
It was a sub-branch of the Super Soldier program, unbeknownst to Banner, because Ross had to keep it all hush-hush, which obviously didn't work out well, because how can you do research on something that you don't even know? Like, you're not being told what you're doing research for or on.
Yeah, I think it's just neat looking back and seeing how early the MCU connections were being established.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why they had Tony at the end.
Yeah.
Because they weren't, like, allowed to use Nick Fury, or they couldn't get Nick Fury, or something like that.
Yeah, and I mean, it worked really well, because one thing I did want to, talk about is Emil Blonsky had Hulk's spot first.
Yeah. Which is insane.
Yeah.
And they never mention that. They never bring up the implications of that ever again.
Which, I mean, I still think he may be getting an Avengers spot pretty soon.
Throwing this out there, I would not be surprised if we see Tim Roth, Abomination, on the Thunderbolts.
Well, I think that the Thunderbolts is what the project is going to be called, and the team may even go public as that, but I personally believe that there will be a, Avengers Dark Reign at some point, where it's just evil Avengers.
Right, that's fair.
Just straight up bad guys as Avengers. Because I don't think, based off of new shit I've heard about She-Hulk, I don't think Abomination is going to be, reforming.
Okay.
Yeah, I think if anything, he's just changing the narrative.
Gotcha. That's what it seems like. It seems like he's really trying to play it up.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, Tim Roth is great in this movie as well. He's threatening as Blonsky. The fact that he literally just starts wailing punches at the Hulk. No fear.
Oh, yeah.
This man has balls of steel.
I wonder, though, what his version of the Super Soldier Serum is. And are those same vials the vials that then get transferred to the scientist in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and which he synthesizes?
Possibly. I know that what they did was they used, I think, the thing Bruce had used, a different version of it.
Well,
or a different strain.
What they did was they used the Super Soldier Serum. He hadn't received any of the Hulk, the same thing Banner had, until after he had already had this stuff. That's why he becomes Abomination.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, you're right.
So he actually gets a version of this Super Soldier Serum
that makes him tougher as a human, But then he gets basically like addicted to it.
Yeah, so that's one thing that I did notice was that they didn't hit him with the Vita Rays already. And I don't know if it will like wore off, but I think that as he needed it more to heal, that's when it kind of like sucked out of his body a little bit, I guess, or sucked out of his bloodstream a little bit.
Right.
And that's where it created the chemical need for dependency on it.
Yeah. Lou Ferrigno cameo, gotta mention that.
Lou
Love it.
Ferrigno sighting,
We
Peter's
love to
teacher
see-
sighting.
Yeah. Betty and Hulk in the cave is one of the best live action Hulk moments. I don't care.
Yeah, and
That shit was so good.
One thing I wanted to talk about was, does Hulk love Betty? Because it is pretty much established in the MCU that Hulk is a different person.
Yeah, it's like it's DID.
Yeah.
You know, so they don't explicitly say that in the MCU the way they do with like Mark Spector.
Yeah.
But in the comics at least, it is 100% confirmed. It is dissociative identity disorder. And I want to say for the MCU and in the 2008 film specifically, I do think Hulk loves Betty.
Yeah.
However, in the grander scheme of things and, you know, in media as a whole, not really. At least from what I've read in the comics, Hulk's protectiveness over Betty is more of a protective failsafe to avoid upsetting Banner.
Yeah.
Like, Hulk knows, okay, Bruce loves this girl, so I'm not going to let her die because I don't want to deal with all that extra pain and stuff that it's going to put him through. But for this one specifically, Betty is like the only one who can calm him down. It's the only person he recognizes that isn't a threat to him. Because the only other people he recognizes would be Ross, who's constantly trying to kill him or Blonsky.
Which, I gotta say, Blonsky is a tiny motherfucker.
Yeah.
I mean, like...
little guy.
Very, very tiny motherfucker.
Love it, though. Stearns. Stearns is a weirdo, but I like him, and that lab transformation was wild.
Yeah.
Dude's kind of a moron for trying that.
He said it himself. He is more curious
than cautious.
He is cautious.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna bounce off of MT's theory from the new Rockstars video that debuted a few days ago. He talked about in that video how Stearns may show up in possibly either Thunderbolts or in She-Hulk as kind of like a mastermind because he is the leader. He is
in the comics he becomes like a full like actual Hulk villain.
Yeah, he is a Hulk villain. He was one of Hulk's most notable rogues gallery besides Abomination.
Right.
His whole thing is that he can remember anything that he learns.
Okay.
So his brain basically expands to fit all of that knowledge. So
yeah, that's why it shows like his face morphing as he gets hit with the blood or whatever.
Yeah, his head actually expands as he learns more. So he, in theory, could become the smartest man in the MCU if he learns everything that Reed Richards knows in combination with, like, Tony Stark and in combination with, like, several other people. It's kind of like Prodigy in the sense where they could become the smartest, most adept character if they wanted to.
Yeah, if they were able to seek out the correct information. Yeah. And I think it would be really cool to bring that back because when we had the MCU recast of Bruce Banner, I think, honestly, it confused a lot of people to a degree. More so because it was a titular character.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's so nice to look and see.
I'm glad they did.
Yeah, me too. But I think that, you know, like showing Tony at the end and referencing the super soldier serum and the Stark tech like that they used to shut the Hulk down, I think all of that is really good, and we need to bring more stuff back from the 2008 movie to really integrate it back in and make it feel whole. Because I love seeing stuff like that come full circle and seeing them pull stuff from like really old MCU time.
And I'm glad that they're bringing back like the thunderclap.
Yes, we saw She-Hulk.
We saw that in that featurette. And then
this Hulk does not fuck around in this movie. He is ruthless.
The car gloves. Fucking love the car gloves.
Listen, dude. Hulk using scraps and debris as impromptu weapons has got to be one of the best things ever. I fucking love it so much.
Oh yeah.
It's so badass. I can't even describe it. But the final fight of this movie is incredible. All the fights in this movie are incredible. You know, the army going after him. Once again, he's not a fan of helicopters. And then, you know, when we get to the final fight and Blonsky actually is like turned into the Abomination and they start going at each other like no holding back, it goes crazy. The Abomination design sucks, personally. Think it's garbage.
I like it just because there's room for evolution.
And that's how I think they're gonna explain it in She-Hulk. Is like, you know, the same way that Bruce's Hulk form has evolved over time, his has done the same thing, and I'm perfectly fine with that explanation.
That was just the immediate reaction his body had.
Right.
I wanted to touch on the last little bit of what I believe it was where Banner went, right? Was that cabin?
Yeah, you did mention that cabin in the
I believe that's
trees.
The same location and the same cabin that WandaVision shot in.
Yeah, because you pointed that out, and I was like, are you sure? And then it showed like the landscape shot, and the trees were lined up exactly how they were in Multiverse of Madness when Wanda drops the illusion, and you see all the like.
Well, that's a different
trees.
area. I'm pretty sure it was a different area in Multiverse Madness than it was at the end of WandaVision.
It looked very similar, but either way.
Yeah, that was fucking crazy. I think overall, though, I really enjoy it, and I definitely want to see more, like, Rage Monster Hulk stuff.
Dude,
but I just
they
don't
have
think
made
we
Hulk
will.
such a bitch past this movie. I don't think he's been done justice since 2012, arguably 2015, because he does have some really cool moments in Age of Ultron. I'll give him that. But
he's now more of a joke.
Yeah, even in Ragnarok, like, he's got the very end when he fights Fenris, but even that, he's still used as a punchline a few times in that fight. And, you know, this Hulk, you see him, like, digging into Abomination's skin and just,
ripping
like,
out
throwing fucking cars. I said, and doing the thunderclap, he don't care. He's taking hits like nothing. I literally have, one of my notes is this Hulk would have whooped Thanos.
Yeah, and I do want to talk about the future of Hulk and, like, the future of She-Hulk and all of that combined.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to go ahead and get into comic talk real quick, just to go ahead and cover the Incredible Hulk from 1962. I didn't take notes, but I actually took screenshots because I read this at work. It was a real fucking quick read.
Yeah.
And good.
I didn't actually take specific notes either.
It's definitely from 1962.
It sure is.
Definitely from 1962. So I'm gonna go ahead and I guess we'll go through my screenshots for yours if you don't mind. Betty is talking to General Ross, and again, 1962. Oh, Daddy, don't be so unfair. Dr. Bruce Banner is one of our most famous scientists. I'm sure he knows what he's doing.
For one, being famous doesn't mean you know jack shit.
Yeah, he really doesn't. And then,
like, he's smart.
Her dad,
but come on now.
Her dad says, "You keep out of this, Betty. This is man talk."
Yeah, that was rough. It's definitely written dated. I did like how it's kind of separated into parts, though.
Yeah, like little episodes in each thing.
Yeah.
And then my next one was, and now, that was Hulk talking, by the way. Hulk has full sentences in this early bit.
Yeah.
And then somebody says, "No, it's impossible. You aren't human." Yeah, he's maybe a little bit of a Hulk. And then Hulk goes, "Human, why should I want to be human?" And then some people are talking about what they saw in regards to Hulk. And one of the soldiers said he was huge, powerful. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if he was a giant gorilla that escaped from some zoo. And then another soldier, and all of these guys are fucking idiots, he said, "No, he was more like a big bear, dressed in tatters, probably escaped from a circus somewhere." Fucking rude. Rude assholes. There was a lot of communism. A lot of fucking commie talk.
There was a lot of commie talk because, you know, early 60s.
Yeah.
I do like the relationship between him and Rick Jones, though. How Rick Jones is just totally nonchalant about this
Rick is ride or die
that he just met. Yeah, this dude he just met saved his ass. Doesn't matter that he turns into like an 8 foot tall, gray, hulking, massive muscle. Doesn't matter. That's the homie. So shout out to
Ride or
Rick
fucking
Jones.
die.
Yes, sir.
I like when he's actually in Russia because they're all very stereotypical Russians.
Oh yeah.
Very, very, very stereotypical. What was
Some of the shit is written almost like propaganda.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, the one thing that I do for a lot of stuff like this is I kind of had to read it as if it was like a flashback or read it as if it was a retelling of a story that had happened in the universe.
Right.
Like that's how I take all of it. It's like this is the news report for what had happened in the universe. Like this is the over exaggerated version
Yeah.
of what actually went down. And then one other screenshot that I wanted to talk about, it's Rick and Bruce flying back to America on a rocket, and it said, "You did it, Doc. You made him normal again and turned him against the Reds. Listen, that blast, what is it? It's the end of the gargoyle and perhaps the end of the Red Tyranny too."
Yeah.
The Red Tyranny. Dang those commies.
Those commie bastards.
Those commie bastards.
um
But that's really all the notes I have, if you have anything else.
I just want to say overall very dated but not terribly written. Of course there's some problematic shit in it, very stereotypical like most of the comics from the time. But, you know, like I said, any sort of comic from that era is going to be kind of shitty at face value.
Very long-winded.
Yeah.
But it's like everything was slower back then. Like there's rules to editing, like video editing now, where cuts have to be 3 to 5 seconds. They used to like go on and on and on and on and on the same shot.
And you know, there was a lot more meta commentary and stuff back in the day that they don't do as much anymore, if at all.
Yeah.
But for what it is, I don't think it's terrible.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean,
it's a decent introduction. It shows the relationship with Rick Jones. It shows, you know, Betty going against her father to defend Bruce. It gives you all the fundamentals, and I think that's something that both the 2003 and the 2008 film hit. You know, it did hit all of those beats, even though there was the weird fucking shit with his dad in the 2003 film, or, you know, the whole, like, escaping to a foreign country and, you know, going into hiding stuff that we did in the 2008 film, and the, like, big monster fight. You know, it didn't have that, even though those movies, you know, put in those different elements. They still have the core of Bruce's character. And like I said, I don't know how much I talked about this. I don't remember, but I don't think Edward Norton was a great Banner.
I didn't like him very much as Banner.
He's probably my least favorite of the three, but it was comic accurate. It was written pretty comic accurate for a lot of parts.
Yeah.
And
which I will agree with that.
But just because it's comic accurate doesn't mean it's good.
So, and I guess we can get into a little bit more about the MCU here with our future talk. You know, just the future of She-Hulk and the potential World War Hulk project that I'm hearing about, which I don't really think is going to happen in the sense...
Makes no goddamn sense.
Well, it's not going to happen in the sense that you want it to. Like,
Exactly.
It's like my expectations with Civil War. I expect Civil War to be a boring, slow political drama, but it's not, because you have bottom lines that need to be met, and then World War Hulk, the story just doesn't allow for it. It's kind of like on the flip side of
Civil War. It's literally just nonstop, just fight scene after fight scene with some character monologues and expositions in between.
Yeah.
And when it's written like as a comic, I've read all of World War Hulk. I think it's incredible.
It's fucking amazing. Planet Hulk and into World War Hulk.
I haven't actually read Planet Hulk. I just saw the animated movie, but I do want to read it.
Absolutely need to.
But like, it's just one of those things where if they did a World War Hulk movie, the circumstances around it would be so different.
It would have to be something along the lines of World War She-Hulk, where, I mean, that's like a really, really recent story. But again, I mean, Kevin Feige's the head of comics, and he's the head of, you know, obviously Marvel Studios. I think that we may see these integrations way earlier on now
Mm-hmm.
because the World War She-Hulk, I think something happens to her, or somebody like basically severs that connection between Jennifer Walters and her Hulk persona, where she can no longer control her change. She just immediately goes into Hulk mode, and she's 10 times stronger in Hulk mode, but she's like 10 times stronger in that than she is in other things, because that complete control is just gone.
Yeah, it's I'm looking at the event reading guide right now, and basically what I'm getting is the Russian Winter Guard gets
Yeah.
a hold of her and like brainwashes her
Yeah.
and takes away the gen part, it seems like, so it's just the rage. And I feel like if they did something like that, put Bruce in a situation where Professor Hulk is split back into just Bruce and Hulk, or do something where they take away Bruce completely for a while and so he's stuck in the rage form, similar to what they did in Thor Ragnarok, which is what ideally they should have done for a Planet Hulk World War Hulk story. That would have been the perfect opportunity, but they fucked it up. Anyway, if they do something like that going forward, there are ways we could get there. I'm very cautious when it comes to Hulk stuff, because it's not exactly difficult to screw up, but there are so many little things that if you don't get it right, it's just not going to work as a whole. Which
There's a
I
lot
think
of
is
nuance
why
to the character.
Yes, which I think is why, while both the 2003 and 2008 movies are decent and have their strengths, I think neither one really fully captures the essence.
Yeah.
I think 2008 perfectly captures like the rage monster part. I think the 2003 film handles his trauma and mental health wonderfully, and I think Mark Ruffalo's portrayal shows his intelligence and stuff better than any other one, but we have yet to get a project of all of that put together, and I feel like that's what I would want from any future Hulk solo project, whether it be a World War Hulk or something else. I need it to like really almost be a character study while also being the action flick stuff.
And I think that if there was a World War Hulk situation that did come about, I think that like where he was separated, I think that it would give room for the woman who is playing She-Hulk. I think it would give her Tatiana Maslany or something like that.
It starts with a T, dude. I can't remember.
I think it's
I'm
something
terrible
like that.
with names, though.
I'm usually pretty good about it, but I'm blanking on it right now. But no, I think it would give her a little bit more room to breathe, and
because it would let her be her own thing. Because I think introducing her
more than a joke.
Yeah, because she's like the comedy character and she's being mentored by Bruce's Hulk, and I think it's going to be a fun dynamic. I just don't want her to end up being overshadowed by either Bruce or the other cameos within the show, like Daredevil or whatever.
Yeah, and I did want to go ahead and say, while we're wrapping it up here, we will be covering She-Hulk weekly with reviews. Separately from this show. Those episodes will start premiering on YouTube and also on audio platforms.
Hopefully, yes.
On August 19th. That is when we have our first review scheduled to go out. We're going to be working really, really hard to make sure that it is both recorded and watched. Well, watched and recorded, I guess I should say, on that Thursday, the 18th.
Yes.
And then I will take all night and all day Friday to get that edited and out as soon as possible.
Yeah, we're going to be trying to be on it as much as we can with She-Hulk. Like we said in the first episode, our schedules aren't always the most consistent and things do come up. But, we are really looking forward to this series, and we do enjoy doing the podcast. And I think having it separate from the main episodes is also going to be nice, because it allows, we're not going to oversaturate, the main podcast with just She-Hulk content. We're going to be able to cover other things, doing She-Hulk on the side to keep up, and overall, hopefully, it turns out well.
Yeah, and also expect an I Am Groot. I mean, it may be out by the time that this episode goes up. I think that it's going to come out on the Tuesday before this episode releases.
Hopefully.
So keep an eye out and ear out for that. That was awesome.
Yes, I Am Groot was adorable, so look forward to that series review. Our first actual full series review, technically.
Yeah. I want to go ahead and get into current talk. What are we watching and what are we reading? I am reading the Ultimate Universe through. I read Ultimate 6. I'm up to like issue 80-something, Ultimate Spider-Man. read all of Ultimate Elektra and Ultimate Elektra and Daredevil. What are you up to?
Currently, I am finishing up the last couple issues of the 1975 run on Inhumans by
Really?
Doug Moench. Fucking incredible.
Doug Moench.
I stand the Inhumans so hard. I love them. I'm actually going through their entire reading list. I'm going to finish this series and then hop to the next one, which wasn't for many, many years after that, because Marvel hates the Inhumans and their fans. Fuck you, Marvel. They need another ongoing series. Please.
No,
Please.
it's Miss Marvel and Wolverine. That's the Inhuman series.
Yeah, no shit. We got Black Bolt's death scene in Multiverse of Madness. Kevin Feige's like, yeah, that's good enough for him.
That's fine.
Us Inhuman fans are living on scraps, brother.
Oh,
it is rough out here.
Make sure that you are reaching out to us so we'll cover your questions and or comments here. You can reach out to us on our socials, on TikTok at LTAC Podcast. That's all lowercase, at LTAC Podcast. You can go ahead and send us an email as well. The Let's Talk About Comics at gmail.com email. Again, that's Let's Talk About Comics at gmail.com.
Along with that, you can also definitely tweet at us, again, at LTAC Podcast. LTAC Podcast on Twitter. Tweet at us or either of our personal accounts, and we'll try to answer it in a future podcast, comments or questions.
Yeah, and you can go ahead and find us on YouTube at Let's Talk About Comics on there as well. And if you have any business inquiries or want to sponsor the show, you can reach out to us at Let's Talk About Comics business at gmail.com. Once again, if you have any business inquiries, you can reach out to the business email, Let's Talk About Comics business at gmail.com. Our personal Twitters are, I am at NachoPpev. Once again, that's NachoPpev.
And I am at Hippie Spider-Man, Hippie Spider-Man.
And make sure that you share the show with all of your friends and family and just strangers on the street. Force them
to listen.
Experience our show.
Our comic talks. Yes, absolutely.
Our release schedule. Once again, these episodes come out weekly, but you're also going to be expecting to have She-Hulk reviews on the 19th. And then from there, expect reviews to come out weekly on Fridays.
That is the plan.
That is the plan. But thank you so much for listening. Again, you can reach us on Twitter at LTAC Podcast and on TikTok at LTAC Podcast. This has been Peyton.
This is Spencer.
And thank you for listening. Goodbye.
Have a good one.